Equi was a beautiful woman with a kind heart. She lived in the bustling city of Kaduna with her 3 beautiful daughters, Omalicha, Amarachi, and Onyinyechi. The triplets, who were 10 years old, were the light of her life. Equi loved them deeply and worked hard to provide for them. Welcome to Afro Tales TV, your home for rich, exciting, and inspiring stories from around the world. Today's story will touch your heart and keep you hooked till the very end. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our amazing stories. Life had not been easy for Equi. She was a single mother, raising her daughters all by herself. This was because she had been deceived by a man she loved very much. His name was Emeka. Equi had met Emeka at a friend's wedding. He was charming, handsome, and seemed to be everything she had ever wanted. They quickly fell in love, and Equi thought she had found her soulmate. One sunny afternoon, Equi and her daughters were sitting in their small living room. The girls were busy with their homework while Equi prepared dinner. "Mama, can you help me with this math problem?" Omalicha asked, looking up from her notebook. "Of course, my dear," Equi replied, wiping her hands on her apron and walking over to Omalicha. She leaned over and patiently explained the math problem to her daughter. "Thank you, Mama," Omalicha said, smiling. Amarachi and Onyinyechi joined in, asking for help with their own homework. Equi was always there to support her daughters, no matter how tired she was. She had promised herself that she would be the best mother she could be. As Equi stirred the pot on the stove, her mind drifted back to the days when she had first met Emeka. She remembered how he had swept her off her feet, making her feel like the most special woman in the world. They had spent many happy days together, and Equi had believed every word he said. She had trusted him completely. One day, Equi found out she was pregnant. She was overjoyed and couldn't wait to share the news with Emeka. But when she told him, his reaction was not what she had expected. Emeka became distant and started making excuses to avoid her. Equi was confused and heartbroken. A few weeks later, Equi discovered the truth. Emeka was already married and had children. He had lied to her all along. Equi felt betrayed and devastated. She decided to leave and never look back. She moved to Kaduna, far away from Emeka, to start a new life with her unborn children. Equi worked hard to make ends meet. She took on various jobs, from cleaning houses to selling goods in the market. Despite the challenges, she always put her daughters first. She wanted them to have a good life and a bright future. One evening, as they sat down for dinner, Amarachi looked at her mother and asked, "Mama, why don't we have a daddy like other kids?" Equi took a deep breath and smiled gently at her daughter. "We may not have a daddy here with us, but we have each other, and that is more than enough. I love you girls very much, and I will always be here for you." Onyinyechi chimed in, "We love you too, Mama. You're the best." Tears welled up in Equi's eyes as she hugged her daughters tightly. "Thank you, my sweet girls. You make me so happy." As the years went by, Equi continued to work hard and support her daughters. She faced many obstacles, but her love for Omalicha, Amarachi, and Onyinyechi gave her the strength to keep going. The bond they shared was unbreakable, and together they faced the world with courage and determination. Equi often told her daughters stories of her childhood in the village, sharing lessons and values she had learned from her own mother. She taught them to be kind, honest, and hard-working. Despite the hardships, their home was filled with love and laughter. One night, as Equi tucked her daughters into bed, Omalicha asked, "Mama, do you ever get tired?" Equi smiled and kissed her forehead. "Sometimes, my dear, but when I see your smiling faces, all my tiredness goes away. You girls are my joy and my strength." Amarachi and Onyinyechi hugged their mother tightly. "We will always make you proud, Mama," they promised. Equi nodded, tears of gratitude in her eyes. "I know you will, my loves. I know you will." And so, Equi and her daughters continued to live their lives in Kaduna, facing each day with hope and love. Despite the difficulties, they had each other, and that made all the difference in the world. Equi continued to work hard, taking on multiple jobs to ensure her daughters had everything they needed. She would clean houses in the morning, sell goods at the market in the afternoon, and take on extra sewing jobs at night. Her hands were always busy, her back always bent from the weight of her responsibilities. Despite her efforts, life was a constant struggle. One day, Equi became very sick. She had been skipping meals to make sure her daughters had enough to eat. Her body, worn out from hard work and lack of proper nourishment, finally gave in. She felt weak and dizzy, but she tried to hide it from her daughters. "Mama, you don't look well," Amarachi said, worry etched on her young face. "I'm fine, my dear," Equi replied with a forced smile. "Just a little tired." The children did their best to help their mother. They cooked simple meals, cleaned the house, and took care of each other. But Equi, despite her illness, refused to rest. She knew that if she didn't work, there would be no food on the table. "Mama, please stay home today," Omalicha begged one morning as Equi prepared to leave for work. "We can manage for a day." Equi shook her head, her resolve unbroken. "There is no food at home, my love. If I stay, we will all go hungry." "But Mama, you're too sick to work," Onyenyechi added, her eyes filling with tears. Equi hugged her daughters tightly, hiding her own fear and pain. "I will be fine. I promise. I just need to finish today's work, and everything will be all right." With a heavy heart, Equi left the house. She arrived at the office building where she was employed as a cleaner. She felt weaker with each step she took, but she pushed herself to keep going. As she was mopping the floor, her vision blurred and she felt a sharp pain in her chest. Before she knew it, she collapsed to the ground. Her colleagues found her and immediately called for an ambulance. They rushed her to the hospital, but Equi's daughters were left in the dark. They waited anxiously at home, praying for their mother's safe return. "Please, God, let Mama come back home safe," Omalicha whispered as they huddled together that night. Amarachi held her sisters close, trying to be strong for them. "Mama will be all right. She always is." Onyenyechi nodded, though her heart was heavy with worry. "We have to believe she'll be okay." The night seemed endless. The girls tried to stay awake, hoping to hear their mother's footsteps at the door, but Equi did not return. They prayed and cried, clinging to each other for comfort. The next morning, there was a knock on the door. It was one of Equi's colleagues, Mrs. Chukwuma. She looked concerned and tired. "Good morning, children," she said gently. "I came to take you to your mother. She's in the hospital." The girls' eyes widened in fear and relief. "Is Mama okay?" Omalicha asked, her voice trembling. "She's getting better, but she needs to rest," Mrs. Chukwuma replied. "Come with me, and you can see her." The triplets quickly got ready and followed Mrs. Chukwuma to the hospital. When they arrived, they saw their mother lying in a hospital bed, looking pale but awake. The girls rushed to her side, tears streaming down their faces. "Mama!" they cried in unison. Equi smiled weakly, her heart swelling with love for her daughters. "My beautiful girls, I'm so happy to see you." "Mama, we were so scared," Amarachi said, holding her mother's hand tightly. "I'm sorry I worried you," Equi replied, her voice soft and tired. "I didn't want you to be scared." Onyenyechi looked at her mother with tearful eyes. "Mama, please don't push yourself so hard. We need you to be healthy." Equi nodded, tears filling her own eyes. "I promise, my loves. I will take better care of myself. I need to be here for you." Mrs. Chukwuma looked at the girls kindly. "Your mother is a very strong woman, but even strong people need to rest sometimes. She will be all right, but she needs time to recover." Omalicha hugged her mother gently. "We will help you, Mama. We will make sure you get better." Equi felt a deep sense of gratitude and love for her daughters. "Thank you, my dear ones. You are my strength." As Equi lay in the hospital, she realized how much she had been sacrificing for her daughters. She knew she needed to take better care of herself if she wanted to be there for them in the long run. The love and concern her daughters showed her gave her the strength to keep fighting, and she promised herself that she would find a way to balance work and health. With the help of her kind colleagues, Equi's hospital bills were paid. She was immensely grateful for their support, knowing she could not have managed the expense on her own. However, the doctor advised her to take it easy, rest well, and eat nutritious food to regain her strength. Returning to work immediately was out of the question. After a few days in the hospital, Equi was finally discharged. She returned home with her daughters, Omalicha, Amarachi, and Onyenyechi, but their situation remained dire. They had no food in the house, and Equi worried about how they would survive the coming days. That evening, as they gathered in their small living room, the girls couldn't hide their curiosity any longer. Omalicha, who was the most outspoken of the triplets, decided to ask the question that had been on their minds for a long time. "Mama, why don't we have a daddy?" Omalicha asked, looking at her mother with innocent eyes. Equi's heart sank. She had always dreaded this moment. She took a deep breath, trying to find the right words. "Don't worry about him, my dear. We are fine just the way we are." "But Mama, we want to know what happened," Amarachi insisted. "Why did he leave us?" Equi felt a lump in her throat. She didn't want to burden her daughters with the painful truth, especially not now when she was so weak. "It's a long story, my loves. Right now, let's focus on getting better and stronger." Onyenyechi, who had been quietly listening, joined in. "Mama, please tell us. We promise we can handle it." Equi shook her head gently. "Not now, my dears. It's too much to talk about, especially now. Please understand." Seeing their mother's reluctance, the girls decided to let it go, at least for the moment. They didn't want to upset her further. Instead, their thoughts turned to another pressing issue. "Mama, what will we eat tonight?" Omalicha asked, her voice tinged with worry. Equi looked around the small kitchen. The cupboards were nearly bare. She knew they had very little left, but she couldn't let her daughters go to bed hungry. "We still have some gari. We'll soak it in water and have it for dinner." The girls nodded, though their hearts were heavy. They knew their mother was doing her best, but the constant struggle was wearing them all down. Equi prepared the gari and poured it into cups, adding a bit of sugar to make it more palatable. As they sat down to their simple meal, Amarachi tried to lighten the mood. "Mama, remember that story you told us about the tortoise and the hare? Can you tell it again?" Equi smiled weakly, grateful for her daughter's attempt to bring some joy into their evening. "Of course, my dear." She began to recount the familiar tale, her voice soothing and warm. After dinner, the girls got ready for bed. They kissed their mother goodnight and settled into their shared room. Equi watched them sleep, her heart aching with worry and guilt. She felt like she had failed them, unable to provide for their basic needs. As tears rolled down her cheeks, Equi whispered a prayer. "God, please help me find a way to take care of my daughters. They deserve so much more than this." The next morning, Equi woke up determined to find a solution. She knew she couldn't return to her demanding jobs just yet, but she had to find a way to feed her children. She decided to visit the local market and see if there was any work she could do that wouldn't be too strenuous. Before leaving, she spoke to her daughters. "I need to go out for a while. Stay inside and take care of each other. I'll be back soon." Omalicha nodded. "Be careful, Mama. We love you." Equi smiled, feeling a surge of hope. "I love you too, my beautiful girls." At the market, Equi approached the stall owners, asking if they needed any help with light tasks. Many of them knew her and were aware of her situation. One kind woman, Mama Nkechi, offered Equi a job selling vegetables. "You can sit and sell from here, Equi. It's not too hard and you can rest when you need to," Mama Nkechi said kindly. Equi was overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you so much, Mama Nkechi. This means a lot to me." She spent the day at the market, selling vegetables and earning a little money. It wasn't much, but it was enough to buy some food for her daughters. When she returned home that evening, her daughters greeted her with hugs and smiles. "Mama, you're back. Did you find any work?" Amarachi asked eagerly. "Yes, I did," Equi replied, showing them the food she had bought. "We have enough to make a proper meal tonight." The girls cheered, their faces lighting up with joy. They helped their mother prepare dinner, and for the first time in a long while, they enjoyed a hearty meal together. As they sat around the table, Equi felt a glimmer of hope. She knew their struggles were far from over, but with the love and support of her daughters and the kindness of others, she believed they could overcome anything. And that night, as her daughters slept peacefully, Equi whispered a prayer of thanks, determined to keep fighting for a better future. The next morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, Omalicha, Amarachi, and Onyenyechi gathered around their mother, Equi, with hopeful eyes. They had been talking among themselves for days about their desire to go to school. Today, they decided to ask her directly. "Mama?" Omalicha began, her voice filled with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Can we go to school? We really want to learn and make you proud." Equi looked at her daughters, her heart aching. She wanted nothing more than to give them everything they deserved, but their current circumstances made it difficult. She took a deep breath and sat down with them, her face showing the sadness she felt. "My dear girls," she said gently, "I want you to go to school too. It's very important. But right now, I can't afford it. Please give me some more time to find a better job. I promise I'll do everything I can to make it happen." The triplets exchanged glances, their eyes reflecting their disappointment. However, they understood their mother's struggles and knew she was doing her best. Amarachi, always the peacemaker, spoke up first. "We understand, Mama," she said softly. "We know you're trying your best." Omalicha nodded, trying to stay positive. "We will wait, Mama. We can study at home in the meantime." Equi felt a surge of pride and love for her daughters. Despite their hardships, they were strong and resilient. "You are very smart and brave," she said, hugging them tightly. "I'm so proud of you." Whenever Equi left for work, the girls would stay at home and read their books. They had a few old textbooks that Equi had managed to find at the market, and they cherished them dearly. The triplets would gather in their small living room, taking turns to read aloud and ask each other questions. One day, as they were studying, Onyenyechi found a difficult math problem in their book. She furrowed her brow, trying to understand it. "This one is hard. Can anyone help me?" she asked. Omalicha leaned over to look at the problem. "Let's figure it out together," she suggested. The sisters huddled closer, discussing the problem and trying different solutions until they finally got it right. "We did it!" Onyenyechi exclaimed, her face lighting up with a smile. Amarachi clapped her hands. "We are getting better every day. Mama will be so proud of us."